Buddha's deadliest enemy. Buddha had several enemies among various castes, creeds, and communities who strongly differed with him on his views and teachings. The most known enemy of the Buddha was, however, Devadatta. Devadatta was the son of King Devadatta and his wife Pamita, who was an aunt of the Buddha. Devadatta's sister was Yasodhara, making him both a cousin and brother-in-law of the Buddha. Together with Ananda and other Sakyan princes, he entered the order of monks in the early part of the Buddha's ministry, but was unable to attain any stage of sainthood and so worked hard for the worldly psychic powers. The greatest regret in Ananda's life was his brother, Devadatta. Devadatta might have become a bhikkhu just because others did and not because he really wanted to be. As a result, he did not practice hard but instead misled the others and was always dreaming of acquiring supernatural powers. Devadatta and his brother Ananda had very different characters. Devadatta was ambitious and discontented. The Buddha even asked him to return to the ordinary world to become a lay Buddhist and not create problems in the Sangha. However, Devadatta refused to listen to the Buddha. When Devadatta entered the order in the early days, he was a good monk known for his elegance and psychic power. But he became pretty arrogant and desired worldly fame. When he could not attain arhat, his anger and jealousy grew even more, and he began thinking he should be the leader of the order of monks. One day, he requested Lord Buddha to step down from the order, appoint him as the leader, and take over the running of the Sangha. But Lord Buddha declined and said he was not worthy of letting him take over the order. Devadatta also wanted the Buddha to teach him the ways to acquire supernatural powers, but the Buddha told him to purify his body and mind and that supernatural powers were not representative of virtuous behaviors. After the Buddha rejected him, Devadatta was very unhappy and he begged arahats like Sariputra and Moggallana to teach him the supernatural power. Sariputra and the others knew his bad character, so they rejected him. All this triggered the anger, ill will, and jealousy of Devadatta towards Lord Buddha and became Buddha's enemy. Although Devadatta was an evil monk, he had many admirers and followers. One of his chief supporters was King Ajatasattu. Prince Ajatasattu, son of King Bimbisara, was greatly impressed by the psychic power of Devadatta and became a disciple of Devadatta. When Buddha turned down his proposal, Devadatta was angry and wanted to take revenge on Lord Buddha. According to the plan they devised, Prince Ajatasattu killed his father Bimbisara and became the king of Magda. He also provided Devadatta with mercenaries and ordered them to kill Lord Buddha. This would pave the way for Devadatta to take over the Sangha. Devadatta's rebellious behavior gradually expanded. He even intended to kill Buddha to ease his anger and made himself the leader. Devadatta hatched several conspiracies and attempts to kill the Buddha. His first attempt to kill the Buddha was to hire a man to kill the Blessed One. The plan was that the man be killed by 2 other men who would in turn be killed by 4 other men. Finally, the 4 men would be killed by 8 other men. But when the first man came close to the Buddha, he became frightened. He put aside his weapons and took refuge in the Buddha. Eventually, all the men who were hired to kill one another became disciples of the Buddha, and the cunning plan failed. Second attempt. One day Ananda and the Buddha were walking on the Vulture's Rock at the foot of a mountain cliff and were seen by Devadatta, who climbed to the peak. He felt that it was an opportunity not to be missed, disregarding the fact that his brother Ananda was there too. Devadatta rolled huge rocks down the cliff. On its way down, the rock struck another rock and a splinter flew and wounded the Buddha's foot, causing blood to flow. Ananda nervously rushed to Buddha and said, "Lord Buddha, are you all right? This is my brother's doing. I am so ashamed. Your situation is too dangerous." The Buddha calmly answered, "Ananda, whether through violence or plots, the Buddha cannot be harmed. You need not feel ashamed because of Devadatta. Whoever commits the crime is responsible. The Buddha's situation is not dangerous." Devadatta's third attempt to kill the Blessed One was to make the fierce man-killer elephant, Nalajirai, drunk with liquor. When Nalajirai saw the Buddha coming at a distance, it raised its ears, tail, and trunk and charged at him. As the elephant came close, the Buddha radiated his loving-kindness, metta, towards the elephant. So vast and deep was the Buddha's love that as the elephant reached the Buddha, it stopped, became quiet, and stood before the master. The Buddha then stroked Nalajirai on the trunk and spoke softly. Respectfully, the elephant removed the dust at the master's feet with its trunk and scattered the dust over its own head. Then it retreated, with its head facing the Buddha, as far as the stable, and remained fully tamed. Usually elephants are tamed with whips and weapons, but the Blessed One tamed the elephant with the power of his loving kindness. According to Pali Tipitaka, Devadatta was the greatest enemy of Lord Buddha and was believed to have split the Sangha by persuading about 500 Buddhist monks who admired and followed him. Since these attempts to kill Lord Buddha failed massively, Devadatta tried another deceitful plan by turning 500 misled monks so that he could split the Sangha community. He requested the Buddha to make it compulsory for monks to follow 5 extra rules. I. Dwell all their lives in the forest. 2. Live only on alms obtained by begging. 3. Wear robes made from rags collected from the dust heaps and cemeteries. 4. Live at the foot of trees. Refrain from eating fish or meat throughout their lives. Devadatta made this request, knowing full well that the Buddha would refuse it. Devadatta was happy that the Buddha did not approve of the 5 rules, and he used these issues to gain supporters and followers. Newly ordained monks who did not know the Dharma well left the Buddha and accepted Devadatta as their leader. Later, Sariputra and Moggallana, on the order of Buddha, went to Devadatta, taught the misled monks about Dharma's true meaning, and became successful. And 500 monks returned to Lord Buddha upon hearing the true meaning of Dharma from the chief disciples of Lord Buddha. Despite his numerous unsuccessful attempts to seek revenge on Buddha, he succumbed to illness, a consequence of his evil karma. After this, evil days fell on Devadatta. He fell very ill at the failure of his plans, and before his death he sincerely regretted his actions and wanted to see the Buddha before he died. But the fruits of his evil karma had begun to ripen and prevented him from doing so. He grew desperately ill on the way to see the Buddha, near the gate of Devadatta Monastery. But before he died he took refuge in the Buddha. Thanks for your patience. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Raj Rishi.